Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar session today, webinar on smart accounting for growing business. My name is Dinesh. I'll be the presenter for today's webinar. Please note that this is a listen only mode webinar. If you have any questions, please do post them in the chat box. My colleague Ramraj will be more than happy to answer your questions on them. I will be creating a new organization in Zoho Books from the scratch and will explain the features and functionalities across. This slide gives an overview of the major features. So you can create invoices and send it across to your client, and using online payment gateways, you can collect payments and you can pay across your bills. You can record account receivables as well as account payables. You can track your expenses, create recurring expenses as well. You can connect with your bank and fetch your bank feeds, so it'll be easy for you to reconcile transactions. You can generate reports instantly at any point in time. You can also export and import data at any point in time. You can invite users, invite accountant as well, and provide them role-based access. And you can invite your employees and give them those roles. You can customize the roles, and based on the roles which you provided to them, they will be working on Zoho Books. And you can collaborate and discuss with your clients. We have a special feature called this client portal, where a separate portal will be created for your organization, and you can invite your clients. And moving forward, when you send an invoice across to your client can view that through email, as well as they can log into the client portal, and there they can view the list of invoices and estimates which you sent across to them. And they can also make a payment or comment on a particular transaction which will be visible to you, and that'll reduce the email to and fro transactions. And you can gain quick insights through dashboard. And apart from these major features, we also have a minimal inventory tracking system which is built within Zoho Books, and you can connect with Zoho CRM, a customer relationship management tool. Zoho Books is built with an expense management, and if you have an extensive expense reporting and reimbursement uh, workflow in your business, in your organization, we also have a separate application called Zoho Expense, which can do that for you, which can also connect with Zoho Books to keep track of your accounting. On the other hand, we also have recurring invoices, and we have another feature called as auto charge, where you can upload your customer's card details, and moving forward, whenever there is a recurring invoice, the payment will be automatically detected from your customer's credit card. So this is called auto charge. And if you have an extensive subscription based business where you have different plans, add-ons and discounts, if you want to provide your customers, and you want to embed all the fields in your website and procure your customers information and save them, we have Zoho Subscription, a fully functional subscription management application, which again can be integrated with Zoho Books. Zoho Books, an online accounting software which can keep track of account receivables, payables, and pretty much across everything around them. So let me explain you let me give you an overview on Zoho Books, and from the start. So this is the home page of Zoho Books. So first, when you log into Zoho, when you type Zoho Books on your browser, so this is where you find. And as you could see, Zoho Books is a cross-platform application. You can access them through browsers across the world, since it's a cloud-based application. And we also have smartphone applications which can be downloaded into your smartphones, and you can again access them across any point in time. We have smartphone application for Windows, iOS, and for Android. We also have Apple Watch application, so you can simply view the unpaid invoices and also keep track of the time. You can record time and bill your customers inside Zoho Books. So I'm going to talk about the various features and functionalities across. So let me directly take you to sign up page. So I'm gonna sign up now. I'm a new user. I can first fill in my company name, details, and other things. So I'm going to choose my country and I'm going to click on sign up. So I will be receiving a notification email to my Outlook account. So I'm going to log in to view that. In the meanwhile, I'll be directed to the Zoho Books application, a quick setup page where we procure all the basic necessary setup or the information required to set up your business. So starting with Zoho Books start date and what is your business type, you can choose them, and the industry type, and how do you do accounting before. So I can say I'm migrating from QuickBooks or from other services, and then I can choose the portal name. So portal is nothing but the client portal which I've explained to you before. I will give you an in-depth view on how it looks and what are the features it offers to you. You can choose your time zone, and then you can enter your company address. I can click on save and continue. So next, we have a US specific version. So I'm going to say yes, I'm liable to collect sales tax. I can say New York tax, and I can enter the specific percentage. So you might be across the world, so you can simply type in the tax authority as well. So this here will help you to create a new tax authority. So if you wish, you can add more. And you can also connect with Avalara. So Avalara used to track down your customer's address, and it will automatically associate the taxes involved for a particular invoice. So you can click on connect Avalara into the credentials, and I'm going to click next. So now these are the payment gateways which are integrated with Zoho Books. So we have 9 major payment gateways starting from PayPal, Authorize.net, Stripe to Checkout, Braintree, Forte, Worldpay. We also have ACH integration across some of these online payment gateways. So you can send an email to support@zohobooks.com for more details regarding ACH payments. And I'm going to click here to finish the quick setup page. So now I'm being directed to my Zoho Books organization. The first thing you would see is a general overview, a small video on all the features and functionalities and where to find things across. So you can click here to play them. And at the bottom you have options to connect with your bank, and you can configure preferences, or you can invite users. Users are nothing but your employees or accountant. And as you know, you can send us an email or request for a demo or a webinar, and all those here. So let me take you to the gear icon here, which take care of all your preferences. We have different quick preference options here, and you can also click on more settings to configure all the settings. And here in the left pane of options is where you navigate across, starting from dashboard, which gives you a quick insight of your total receivables, cash flow, income and expense, your top expenses, projects, and the bank and credit card which you have connected. So since this is a new organization, it's completely blank. Let me show you an example. This is my old organization. So here you could see how it will look like. It's colorful, and you have your top expenses in a pie chart, and your income and expense graph is shown here, which can be switched from accrual and cash. And your projects, the budget hours and unbilled expenses can also be viewed here, and the bank and credit card details are shown here. An account watch list, or these are my specific chart of accounts which I've placed them here. I'll show you how to do that. So once you start with Zoho Books, I pretty much will tell you to start with your accountant tab, and first define the chart of accounts which your company or your organization needs. So you can click on this plus new account, and you can enter the account name, enter the account code, and choose the account type. So asset, liability, equity, income, and expense, you can choose them, and you can enter the description. And here's where you have to check the box and save it. Moving forward, this account which you created will be displayed here in the account watch list section, and you can click here to save. your newly created account. So likewise, you can create as many accounts as you want. If you have a list of accounts which is ready to be imported, you can click on this gear icon here with a small drop down arrow next to it. Click on import chart of accounts and choose the file. And before that, just download the sample file, and the sample file contains the header and the information, gives you a sample on how the file should look like or should align like. So you can use the sample file as a reference and align your data accordingly and then import them. So the file format supported is CSV and TSV. So you can click next and it'll ask you to, it'll be a 3 simple step to import the data into Zoho Books. So once you set up your list of chart of accounts, you can go to the settings icon, click on more settings, and click on opening balances. So first set up your opening balance. Enter the opening balance date, and then choose enter the debits and credits across the accounts. If it is an account receivables, click here to enter the opening balance and select the currency, enter the amount, enter the exchange rate, and save them. So similarly, you can enter the debits and credits for each and every account here, and you can also add a new account right from this section, opening balances, and you will have all the details here. You can click on continue to set up your opening balance. So I'm going to set up the opening balance with 0. So this is successfully saved. Now my opening balances are set. So I started with accountant tab and entered my chart of accounts, and then moved to opening balances, and I have set my opening balances. Next, I can go to my contact section here, and I can add my list of contacts. Contacts are nothing but the organization or the contact persons inside the organization. Okay, so you can also integrate with Zoho CRM, which I'll be talking about in the settings section. So let me first give you a quick overview on the features in the 10 minutes section, and then we'll go into detail in the next 30 minutes. So first, you can click on this plus to contact to create a new contact. Enter the contact name and fill in all the information. Choose whether he's a customer if you're selling the product to him. Choose he's a vendor if you're buying the product from him. In either case, you have to choose your currency. So please note that initially, while setting up your organization, since you have chosen United States of America as your country, USD will be automatically set as your base currency. I'll talk about that when you get into organization profile. Let me explain how Zoho Books handles multi-currency. So initially, while setting up your organization, inside this organization profile settings, I'm going to open that in a new tab so that I can also show you guys that how we can switch between tabs and still work on the same organization. So here you could see I have a basic details about my company, and here I have my currency set up as USD automatically. Okay, and here I can choose my customer's currency. How it works is, imagine you have a customer who lives in Australia. I can directly choose Australian dollars here, and under settings I can go to currencies and I can set the exchange rate between Australian dollar and United States dollar. And based on the exchange rate, whenever I create an invoice for my Australian client, the invoice will show Australian dollars. So I will explain that how it works, and here you can add a new contact based on that, and can choose. So if he's a customer, you can choose the currency, you can choose the payment term, which will be set across all the invoices which you're creating. And then here you have to check the box to allow this client to access the portal. So what happens is that when you hit save, an email will be triggered across to your client, and your client has to accept the invitation, and moving forward he can access the client portal. And tax preference, whether taxable or if it is tax exempted, you have to specify the tax exemption reason and the tax authority. If it is taxable, choose the tax rate, which I've already added, and I can simply click on save to add a new contact. So I've created a new contact. The next is, let me create a new one. So I'm going to add Jon Snow. Yes, taxable. I'm going to choose the tax. I'm going to hit save. So I have my customer right here, but I have not added any email address. So I will not be able to send any email across to him whenever I send an email, whenever I create an invoice. So I'm gonna hit save. Now I have all my contacts information ready. So this we call as an extended view list, and when you click on it, it's going to compress itself to show you more details. And you have a small bar graph which shows the income, since he's a customer, he's not a vendor. And I can go to transactions tab. I can filter across various transactions created for this customer. Again, recent activities will update you on all the activities carried with this particular customer. And you can create a new transaction right here. And under more, you have various options to configure things. Next, you can go to items. Items are nothing but the products or the services which you sell or which you offer. So with the services which you offer, click on this plus new item to add a new one. Enter the item name. So I'm gonna say it's an iPhone, and I can choose the unit, and the unit will also be displayed on the invoice. And I can also enter the description and choose whether it's taxable or non-taxable. If it is non-taxable, then you have to choose the exemption reason right here. You can choose this income account. So based on the chart of account list which you have created, you can choose your income account here. So I'm going to say taxable, and I'm going to say yes and save it. Now I have created an item. So first I have created the list of chart of accounts, and then I configured my opening balance, and then I added my customers, and then I added my items. So everything is set up. I'll quickly show you how easy it is to create an invoice and send it across to your client. So this invoices section holds the list of invoices you have created. You can also click on this plus new button to create a new invoice. These are transaction preferences. Do you give discounts? If yes, at what level? At invoice level is the end of the invoice, and you can choose whether to give discounts before tax or after the tax. If it is at individual item level, as you know, items are nothing but the products or the services. So each and every product you have, you will be in a position to add discounts if you selected this option. You can say no, I don't give discounts, and choose first. So here I'm going to choose at individual item level. And if you have any additional charges you'd like to add, like shipping charges or adjustments, you can check the box. If you don't need them, uncheck them. So I have checked them because I need them for my organization. And I can also add a specific field for salesperson, and I can type in the salesperson name. And I have a specific report in my report section in Zoho Books that will tell you that this salesperson is involved with this invoice. So I'm going to hit save. Initially I can choose my customer here. So since I've already added a new customer in the under the contact section, I can select them here. You will have the list of customers that you have created in the drop down, or you can also click on this plus new customer to create a new customer, the same form which you have entered while creating a new contact. Now the invoice number can be auto generated or manually added each time. So you can choose the prefix and the next number if you're auto generating the invoice number. Next is the order number. If you have any specific order to be tracked, you can enter the order number here. And you can choose the terms. So these are default terms which comes with Zoho Books. You can also click on configure terms and add a new one based on your requirement. So I'm going to say net 30, and here you could see the due date is altered automatically. And since I've added my salesperson, I have them here. So I'm going to type in my salesperson name, and that's it. Moving forward, I can find my salesperson name in the drop down. I can choose my item. If I have ordered under the item section, I can find the list in the drop down, or I can also click on this plus new item to add a new one. I'm going to add this, and everything is automatically filled in. I'm going to set the quantity as 10. I'm going to sell 10, and I'm going to give a discount. I can either give a percentage or the flat discount. Here I'm going to say I'm going to give a flat of $9 discount. And since I've specified this item is taxable and the tax I've added, it's automatically shown here. I can also click on this plus new tax and enter the new tax name, rate, and then the tax authority here to add a new tax. You can click on this plus new another line to add as many lines as you want to add different products across this invoice. And here you could find the subtotal and the tax value here. And if you have any shipping charges, you can add them. I'm going to add $10. And if you want to adjust, you can simply adjust it. You can put negative signature, negative sign here, so it'll reduce it. And this customer note and terms and conditions and all the settings can be configured under the settings section. So since this is the first time I'm creating an invoice, I can simply type in and that'll be reflected. I can check this box to use them in the future transactions as well. Since by now I have not configured any payment gateways, but I can click here and I can enter the credentials and save them. And I can click here to save them to add a payment option. So for PayPal, I can choose between standard or business. So while configuring them, you would have noticed that if it is a standard one, I need to have my customers can pay with the credit card. If it is business one, my customer has to pay, he has to own a PayPal account. Let me show you that. The differences between PayPal standard and PayPal business. Here you can compare them while configuring your PayPal settings. Okay, so if you want to make if you want to allow your customers to make partial payments for this invoice, you can check the box here. Otherwise, leave it unchecked. You can enter the terms and conditions here. Again, you can check this box to use them in the future transaction. So you can set up the email. And if you have any attached reference file, imagine if you have a long list of terms and conditions which exceeds 2 pages, you can attach them in a reference file. And the template, we have predefined templates, and this is a standard template which comes designed for you while you're setting up your Zoho Books organization. This is automatically selected for you. Again, under settings, you can completely customize your template based on your requirement. Now you have two options. One, save this invoice as draft, save and send. So I'm going to click on save and send. I'll be redirected to another email page, and where my customer's email is automatically added and the subject and everything is added. So this can be completely customized under settings. I'll show you how to do that. You can attach additional files and you can click here to send. So since I have not sent it across to my client, once I saved it as draft, it will be in the draft status, as you could see here. So this is a preview of my invoice. I can click here to download this invoice right away. I can open it in a new tab. So here's my invoice for my customer. And I can also click this print button to print it directly. I can edit the invoice. I can click this email button to email this invoice to the customer at any point in time. And apart from that, if you're recording an offline payment, you can click on record payment on the top. And initially, if you wish to mark this as sent, you can click here as mark this as sent. So now the invoice is sent across to your client as you have set it up. Click on record payment and then enter the amount received, and if there is any bank charges, enter them here. Any tax detected, enter the amount withheld and choose the tax account here, and enter the reference notes and simply record the payment. So now I've recorded a payment for this invoice, and I have my invoice has been paid and there is no balance, as you could see here. Under more, you can make this invoice recurring, create credit note, clone, or print delivery note, packing slip. All these are available right here. So with this, I've shown you how quickly you can set up your organization and create an invoice in a detailed fashion. So let me take you to preferences and show you the configurations involved. First, let me take you to organization profile, where you can upload your business logo. Click here to upload one, and please do stick with the preferred image size. And then you can configure the portal settings. You can enter the banner message, which will be displayed when your customer logs into the client portal. And you can configure all the settings by checking or unchecking this box correspondingly. And then choose your industry, business type. You would have entered the company address and all those there. And if you want to add more email address to this organization, you can click on configure email, add additional email, and enter the name and then the email address and save it. Choose your fiscal year here, and choose the tax basis between accrual or cash based on your requirement. Choose the time zone and the date format which you wish to display on your invoices. You can also choose the separator here. In some cases, you might require to show your company ID and tax ID here. You can add them. If you wish to add additional fields like order or shipment, any kind of additional details, you can add them and enter the value here and simply save them. So now you have set up your organization profile. You would have configured your opening balance at the beginning, as I've shown you. Next is users. Users are nothing but your employees or your accountant whom you can invite. You can click on roles here and click on this plus new role to add a new one. So I'm going to name this as custom role. And here I have various actions corresponding to various tabs. For example, customer section. I can uncheck this to not provide access to this section at all. So whenever I assign this role to any person, he will never be able to view customers, but he can view vendors as I've provided access. You can also customize the roles, as you can say that he will not be able to delete any of these details. So he can view, create, edit, but he will not be allowed to delete any customer or vendor. So similarly, check the box to provide access and uncheck to deny access. You can click on more permissions to configure more permissions here based on a requirement, and this is spread across all the modules, so you can customize it based on your requirement and hit save once that is done. Now to invite user, go to all user section, click on invite user button and enter the email address, enter the name and choose the role, the custom role which I've created, and click send, and your customer will receive, your employee or your accountant will receive an email, and they can confirm the invitation, and moving forward they can find your organization in this list and they can access your organization. Next is general preferences. What are the modules you would like to enable in Zoho Books? Do you want sales orders, purchase orders, retainer invoices? All those can be checked to enable. Retainer invoices are nothing but a legal document to record advance payments. So how retainer invoices works is you create a retainer invoice to record there is advance payment, and create an invoice and then apply this retainer payments to this invoice and to show that the invoice has been prepaid. And then you can these are the features you have already seen. Well, how do you give discounts and show additional charges and all those. Organization address format and customer address format, so you can define how I'm going to display my organization address and my customer's address. So here I have added street address followed by city and then postal code, state and country. So similarly you can add different placeholders and add them here and save it. Contact preferences is where you can add up to 10 custom fields for contacts. So you can view the custom fields here. So for an example, I'm going to say custom and I'm going to hit save. While creating a contact in this custom field section, you will find the custom field. I can enter the name here and save it. Now let's go to item section, and here you can choose the decimal rate for the item quantity here. And would you like to enable price list? Yes, I have selected yes now. So moving forward, I will have a price list section in my item section. Inventory is here. You have to track inventory, you have to select inventory tracking here, and you want to be notified when a specific quantity drops down below the reorder point. I have checked yes, and I can click on save to configure. So now what happens is, under the item section, I will have the list of items, and when I add a new one, I will be able to track inventory based on my requirement. And next is the Invo Estimate section. So inside the client portal, your customers can actually accept an estimate or decline an estimate or comment on them. In cases where your customer accepts the invitation, you can say yes, save as draft. Do you want, or you can you can convert that accepted estimate directly to an invoice. If you want to do that, you can say yes, save as draft, if you want to save them in the draft status, or you can save yes, save and send to uh, save them and send it across. So what happens is that once your customer accepts the estimate, an invoice will be automatically created and it will be sent across to your client in the state. If it is yes, save and save as draft, then it will be automatically created, but this will not be sent across to your client. By on that process, what are the data you want to carry forward from an estimate to an invoice? You can check the box or uncheck them based on your requirement. You can add up to 10 custom fields for the invoices. So I'm going to add, and I can show it on PDF. Only then it will be displayed in the preview of the invoice. I can configure the terms and conditions and customer notes for the invoice or for the estimate here. I can hit save. Now what happens is that while creating an estimate, which is similar to creating an invoice, you will have this new custom field which I've created. I can type in the value here and I'll show you. I'll quickly create a new estimate. I'm going to hit save as draft. So here you can find the custom field which I've created right here. So similarly, you can configure the custom fields for sales order, terms and conditions, and customer notes, and even for invoices, you can add up to 10 custom fields, terms and conditions, and customer notes, and for credit notes as well, for expenses, and for purchases, you can add up to custom fields, 10 custom fields, and into the terms and conditions and notes. So in the beginning, I've spoke about auto charge feature, where your customers can enter, uh, uh, upload their card details, and moving forward, whenever there is a recurring invoice, the payment will be automatically fetched, right? So we have three options now in the recurring invoices section. You can create invoices as draft or create and send invoices. You can choose them. So what happens is that whenever you configure a recurring invoice, so here, while creating a recurring invoice, what happens is that you have an option to specify how it repeats. So I can click custom and I can choose how it repeats. So here I'm going to say every month. So what happens is that every month when a new invoice is generated from this recurring profile, it can be saved as draft if you select creates invoices as draft, and it will not be sent across to the client. If you're selecting create and send invoices, it'll be the recurring invoices will be created and it will also be sent across to your client. The other option is create, charge, and send invoices, is where you can upload your customer's card details and charge your customer for that invoice, and the invoice will be sent across to your client in the paid status. So here you can configure on success, on failure configuration. So there might be a lot of cases when the payment gateway tries to take the payment from your customer's card details, it might fail at some point in time. So if it goes through, I can send a payment thank you note, which is nothing but an email saying thank you so much for your payment, and so, which can be configured under this email template. The content can be configured. On failure, we have three options. One, send failure notification alone, and where an email will be sent across to your client to notify. The second one is send failure notification and retry. So here you can configure the retry. You are configuring Zoho Books to go for another attempt, to try take the payment one more time. So how many times you can define that, second and third retry, and you can choose the number of days after the first attempt. So imagine if it fails today, I can say 1 day after previous attempt. So today it attempted. After tomorrow, after a day, it'll again try to attempt to take the payment. If that fails, you can send a failure notification or send an email. You can check the box to suspend the recurring invoice after all the retries. And the final one is retry without notification. So there won't be any notification sent once the payment got failed in the first attempt. And you can hit save to configure the auto charge settings. Now I've added them. Expense settings. So you can track mileage expense here inside Zoho Books. You can choose the default unit, kilometer or mile. You can choose the default account here. You can also click on this plus new account to add a new one. You can enter the mileage rates. You can choose the date and enter the mileage rate right here. You can also add more date and click OK. Click save to save the expenses, the configurations. And delivery note and packing slip can be generated for each and every invoice you create. So here you can configure the fields which you want to display on that packing slip or the delivery note, and hit save once all the configurations are set. Nexus Currencies is where you set up the exchange rate between your currency. In my case, I've configured USD, so my base currency is United States dollars, and I can set the exchange rate between across different currencies. So I can click on view exchange rate, and I can click on add an exchange rate. I can choose the date, and I can enter the exchange rate. Simply, I can hit save. And even while creating an invoice, you will have an option to configure. So let me create a new contact with Australian dollars. So here I'm going to say he's Australian client. I've selected everything. I'm going to hit save. Okay, I've selected the tax. I'm going to save. So now I've created a new contact. Right, now I'm going to create a new invoice. While creating a new invoice, automatically the exchange rate field will be popping up. I can enter the exchange rate then and there. If I have not configured, I can enter the exchange rate right away here. So while creating an invoice, you still have an option to configure the exchange rate. Taxes is where you can define individual taxes and associated tax authorities and tax exemptions. You can click on this plus new tax, enter the tax name, rate, and choose the tax authority right here, which we have seen already. You can click on this drop down and create a new tax group, or you create a new tax authority, enter the tax authority description, save it, enter the tax exemption, and is it going to be for customer or the item, and save it. And then to create a new tax group, all you have to do is you can create different individual taxes and select them and give this tax group a name, and you can associate the tax group across the invoices. So you can view them here. And you can also use the Avalara integration, enter the credentials and connect them. Templates are nothing but the invoice layout, the invoice and the transactions layout. So you can configure for invoices, estimates, sales orders, credit notes, purchase orders, payment receipts, and even check. You can also print checks from Zoho Books for the bills which you create. So for invoices, we have different templates. We have close to 10 different templates. You can choose among one. You can click on use this, and you can customize the look and feel of this invoice. The color, the background image or the header image, the margins, and would you like to show organization logo, and where the background image should be positioned, and the background color, label, font size, font color, all these can be customized. So we have divided the whole template into 5 different sections, starting from template properties, header document information, item table, and total and footer. So you can customize the look and feel of it. So for an example, just to show you, Invoice Pro, I would just like to add it, and I'm going to change the font size to 20 just to make it bigger, and I'm going to change the color to red. I'll hit preview, and here you could see the invoice is automatically converted to Invoice Pro. I'm going to remove Invoice Pro, and I'm going to show you another preview. So likewise, you can customize each and every section of this table, and you can customize it. So I'm going to change the layout, and I'm going to change the border color here. I'm going to say green. Preview. Here you could see the border is automatically converted to green. Everything is converted to green. Okay. And the background color, I'm going to change it to blue. I'll show you a preview. Here you could see how it looks like. I'm going to change the color. back to blue. Okay, I'll show you a preview. Everything is fine. I'm gonna hit save. I can click here to save. So now I have a separate template which I've created. I can mark this as default. So what happens is that I can randomly click on this plus new button. So here you could see the green color star icon, which shows that this is the template which is automatically selected. So what happens is that when you create a new invoice, automatically this template will be selected. So I'm going to select this as my default one. And now when I create a new invoice, I have clicked on new invoice, automatically simple template is taken into consideration. So the default one will be automatically taken into consideration. Similarly, you can configure estimate, sales order, invoices, credit notes, purchase orders, payment receipts, and checks configurations. Click edit, and here you can choose the alignment, and you can save and print a sample or preview them based on your requirement. Email templates. Email templates are nothing but the email content which is sent across to your client. So we have various notification emails, the client portal invitation and all, the vendor statement, the customer statement, user invitation, everything pretty much. You can click on show mail content corresponding to anyone, and you can customize this based on your requirement. Change them, add HTML codes if you wish. So you can embed an image source, you can hyperlink, or you can insert different placeholders, and that will be automatically taken into consideration. You can also blind copy yourself. So whenever you send an invoice out, a notification email will also be sent across to you. You can also copy yourself. This is carbon copy, and this is blind copy yourself. And you can also choose if you have different users inside the settings section. Okay, here I have shown you how to add different configure different emails, right? If you have more than one, here you can choose the from address for the invoice notification alone. And you can click save to save this as the default one. You can also create a new template. Give this template a new name and save it. So I'm gonna say new template, and I can save it. Now I have two different templates for invoice notification alone. Similarly, I can customize things, and I can edit signature for all the notifications here. Reminders can be set across Zoho Books, and we have automated reminders. You can click on this plus new reminder to add a new one, enter the name, and whom to remind. You can choose to remind yourself, or the customer, or both, the number of days before or after the due date. So the invoice will be set with the due date. So based on that, the reminder can be set. You can carbon copy yourself, or you can type in a new email address to blind copy. You can also add a new one here to carbon copy. You can change the subject. Similarly, you can type in to create a new one, insert different placeholders to configure them and save it. So you can turn on the reminder based on your requirement. Automation. So you can set up workflow rules. You can set up webhooks, email alerts, and field updates inside Zoho Books. So workflow rules, you can click on this plus new workflow rule to create a new one. Enter the rule name, and select to which module this workflow is applied, to estimate or an invoice or a sales order. So I'm going to select invoice, and I can enter the description and simply hit save. Now I can choose when to trigger. The workflow type, I can choose between event or date. So I can select the date, and I can choose the date of execution, before or after the invoice date, due date, or the created date. And execution time, you can also choose that. And execution cycle, so if it's going to be repeated, you can also choose them. If it is event based, you can say when the invoice is created, and I can click next. Filter the triggers, so I can add different criterias, and I can say invoice number and I can type in the number, or I can choose the currency is or isn't, and I can filter the triggers, and I can change criteria here. I can change and or and all those, and I can click save and click next. So I can remove these two fields since I'm not using them. Okay, everything is fine. I'm going to hit save. Would you like to add time-based actions? Check the box if yes, and then enter the execution time, the number of days or hours. You can choose after the rule triggers or the invoice date and so on. So you can choose the email alert to the name. Click on the add a new email alert and enter the name and the module and the email template and the email recipients and all those and additional recipients here and save it. So you can add different actions, the email alerts or field updates or webhooks. So pretty much the workflow is involved with email alerts, field updates and workflows. So you can configure them before coming to workflow rules. And you can hit save to configure the workflow. So here I'm going to add a new one, new email alert and new template. And the email is sent to Aaron, and I can hit save, and I'm going to save the workflow. So based on this, you can create as many workflows as you want. To create a new email alert, as I've shown you just now, you can click on this plus new one, enter the name, choose the module, enter the template, email recipients, and all those. Field updates, you can click on this plus new update to add a new one, enter the name, and choose the module, and which field to be updated to what. And check the box if it also has an empty value. Webhooks can be configured here. Click on this plus new webhook to create a new one. Enter the name and followed by the module and enter the description and to which URL to notify, and then choose the method post, put, or delete. And you can also add additional parameter. You can also add custom ones. Enter the parameter value followed by the name and append selected parameters here. And you can also add user defined parameters and enter the parameter name, value, description, and insert placeholder, and you will have a URL preview here, and you can hit save, and based on the notification, and webhook will be automatically sent across to that person, to that application or the server, to the URL basically. So this is about a brief automation and how it works. Integrations is where we connect with online payment gateways. I've shown you we are integrated with 11 major online payment gateways, and you can connect them. And this auto charge feature is not available with PayPal, 2Checkout, and Braintree. And eCheck is available with Authorize.net. You can click on Setup Now and configure them. Zoho Apps is where you can connect with other Zoho applications. With Zoho CRM, you can click on Connect, and then you can click connect into the Zoho email address in Zoho CRM's ZSE key and save it. And we have a brief documentation under our help document, and you can view them to configure Zoho CRM settings step by step. And Zoho Expense is a expense reporting and management application. So what you can do is imagine if you have an organization where you send across your salesperson and they have different expenses to be recorded. They are clubbing them together to form a report, submitting to you, and you approve it, and then you reimburse your employee. So if this is going to be your expense workflow, you can pretty much go for Zoho Expense. It's a simple and efficient tool to manage this workflow. And Zoho Subscription, as I spoke to you before, I'll just show you. So Zoho Expense, as I've shown you, expense reporting software, you can view them. This is how it looks like. Again, this is a cross-platform application. We have smartphone applications and even Apple Watch application to track mileage. So you can connect with it. Also can be connected with Zoho Books to keep track of your accounting, and Zoho Subscriptions. So subscription is a smarter recurring billing and subscription management software. So you can add your customers, and you can subscribe them to a service, and you can charge the customer, and you can have all the metrics according to the subscription-based business. So if you have that, you can also connect with them. We are also connected with Zapier, so you can connect with 400 plus applications across the world. So apps is where you can connect with Square. You can click on connect, and you can, moving forward, you can configure the settings of Square. So you can enter the Square credentials and do that. So I'll just show you guys where to find help and support. Click on help and support here. So here you can click on user guide, and here you can find the list of you can find extensive step-by-step guide for each and every section. So here in the integration section you can find Square integration and how it is done, and similarly for Zoho CRM, a step-by-step guide on integrating Zoho Books in Zoho CRM. You can follow this. And if you have any quick questions, we have knowledge base, and which will help you to answer those, which will give you answers. And if you anytime need a support, you can click on this question mark icon, you can click on contact support, and you can enter your query, contact number, how critical it is, and you can send it across to us, or you can also call us using these phone numbers, or you can also request a demo or request for a call based on your requirement. You can track 1099 payments using Zoho Books, and you can file them using track 1099 and tax1099.com. You can click here to learn more. And Zoho Books ZSE keys is the key to communicate between two Zoho applications. So these are the various configurations involved in Zoho Books. So once that is done, as you know, inside the contact section, you can add different contacts and you can manage them. Under items, you can add different items. You can click on plus new item to add a new one. And here you can click on this gear icon to import the list of items or export the list of items. You can also go to item preferences right here. Okay, now again, to export and import data to each and every section, you can go to that section specifically, and you can click on this three line sandwich icon, or you will find sometimes you will find a gear icon. Click on that, and there you will have import options and export options. So have you created an invoice? Like how you can create an estimate. So we follow similar workflows and user interfaces. So you can enter the customer name and all the other fields like how you created an invoice. So whenever a payment is recorded, you will have payment receipt section, which will hold a payment receipt. You can also click on this plus new one to add a new customer, and you can enter you can record an offline payment here. So likewise, you can create recurring invoices and configure them. Credit notes can be configured. So from an invoice, as you know, you can create a single invoice to a recurring one, or you can create a credit note or clone. You can create a credit note from an invoice, or you can create a credit note directly. And I'll just show you. It's so easy. I'm gonna hit save, and then you can apply this to an invoice, or you can also mark this as refund, avoid, delete based on your requirement. You can choose the from account. So now a credit note is created automatically. Under purchases, you can manage your expenses, recurring expenses, bills, and so. So to create a new expense, click on this plus new button to create a new expense. And here you can choose the expense account and how it is paid, and enter the amount, and choose the vendor. If you can also click on this plus new vendor to add a new one, and enter the reference number, notes, and attach a receipt, and choose the customer name here. And if this expense is a billable one, you can select billable. You can mark this as billable here. So what happens is that whenever you create an invoice, this billable expense can be added. So I'll just show you. You can convert this expense to an invoice directly here using this option, or for the same customer, when you create an invoice, here you will find a cautious message which will ask you to upload the unbilled expenses. You can add them. Check the box and add them here. Again, from expense, you can convert that to a recurring expense. You can click on make recurring, enter the profile name, and repeat every section as you did for creating a recurring invoice. Similarly, you can also create a recurring profile from the scratch. To record a mileage expense, you have to click on this drop down arrow and click on record mileage, and enter preferences. And so here I have saved it, and now I can select the distance traveled or the odometer reading. I can enter the start reading and the end reading, and the distance will be automatically calculated, and everything can be done. So bills are nothing but the purchase invoices you receive from your customer. Even before that, I'll just add the other modules. So I'm gonna say read my invoices and save it. When I go back, I will have read my invoices module here, and I will have purchase orders here. So let's go ahead and create a sales order. And you can click on this plus new button to create a new sales order. Again, it's pretty much similar. Can hit save as draft to create a sales order. I can convert this to an invoice directly, or I can also convert it to a purchase order. So the workflow is you can create an estimate, and once the estimate is accepted, you can mark this as sent first, and you can mark them as accepted or declined, or using the client portal your clients can accept or decline them. So I'm going to mark this as accepted. If the estimate is accepted, so this is invoiced, so I have converted them to an invoice. I'm going to clone them, so I'll show you how to convert this estimate to a sales order. I'm going to save as draft, and here I'm going to mark this as sent, and I'm going to make this as accepted, and now this is accepted. And in the settings, since I've configured whenever there is a estimate is accepted, an invoice should be automatically created. So it's creating a new invoice automatically. Otherwise, I will have an option to convert it to a sales order, and then a sales order can be converted to an invoice using this option. You can also convert it to a purchase order using this option. While creating an estimate, so here you will have an option to create a return invoice. So I can say whenever my customer accepts this estimate, so I'm gonna select the item. He has to pay 10% advance. So I have selected 10%, and I can click on save as draft. So now whenever my customer views that in the client portal, whenever they accept this estimate, they'll be requested, there'll be a pop-up which will ask them to pay the 10% of the amount, and the new return invoice will be built up. You can click on this plus new return invoice to create a new one, choose the customer name, and enter the description and amount which you would like to receive in advance, and you can scroll down and save them. So you can record a payment for the once you received an advance payment, you have to record them. And now you can apply this to an invoice. You can click on apply this to an invoice, and since there is no invoices, I'll create a new one for the customer Aaron, and I'm going to save this as new one. And when I create a new invoice, if there is an unbilled expenses, I will have them in the top, which will notify me. And again, if there is any returners available, I can also click here to apply them. So I can say it's 325.91 from this return invoice, from this advance payments, and this invoice is automatically paid. And here it will show you the payments made is 325, and how it's paid. Here you will have the payment receipt section which holds the details. Now let's go back to purchase orders. So you can click on this plus new button to create a new purchase order. Again, you can choose the vendor. So here I can add a new vendor here, and you can save them. So I've added those details, and I'm going to add a new item. And the purchase information, select the account, and enter the description. Please note that these descriptions will also be displayed on the invoices or the purchase order or the bills, so on the transaction basically. So you can type in to create a new one if you wish, and you can choose to deliver to the organization or the customer. You can select it. You can also rename the name here, and you can choose the customer's address right here. based on a requirement and simply save it to create a new purchase order. A purchase order can be converted to a bill using this More button, and automatically all the details will be filled in. You have to manually type in the bill number and save it. And since this is an expense, money going out, you have to record a payment here. You can also click on pay via check, and before that you need to configure your bank account. I'll just show you that later. So now you can click on record payment, and I'm gonna say I've made a payment of $100 and it's been paid. And payments made will hold a receipt for the payment which I've made to my client. Similarly, a bill can be converted to a recurring bill. Click on more and you can make it recurring. Again, similar one, profile name, and repeat every section. And vendor credits can be created using this tab. You can click on this plus new button to create a new vendor credit. You can save it. You have to type in the credit note number. And now this can be applied to a bills, or you can click on more to mark this as refund. So this is how simple it is to create transactions across Zoho Books. And under Accountant tab, you can find manual journals. So you can go to reports and you will find all the reports related to accounting, starting from profit and loss, cash flow statement, balance sheet. The best part is you can click on this customize report and customize them based on your requirement. You can also export them and you can also print them. And under accountant here, you have general ledgers and journal report trial balance. Again, you can set up the date range and you can run the report at any point in time. You can export them as well. So based on the transactions you create, the ledgers will be automatically created, general ledgers and everything. General ledgers and journal report will be automatically created for you. So here you could see the debits and credits across the accounts, and journal report will tell you for each and every transaction what are the accounts are affected, and the trial balance will tell you the account, the debits and credits, and from and to accounts. So now if you wish to post a manual journal, you can still do that with Zoho Books. You can click on this plus new manual journal to add a new one. Enter the reference notes. If this is a cash based journal, check the box. Choose the account, enter the description, and enter the debits and credits. Choose the other account, and so on. So based on your requirement, you can configure them, add as many lines as you want, and you can save it to post a new manual journal. Since Zoho Books handles multi-currency, you can also adjust base currencies at times if you want to make any changes. Click on make an adjustment and choose the currency, enter the date of adjustment, enter the exchange rate, and click continue. Tax payments will tell you it will tell you the list of taxes and the total sales and what is the taxable amount and what are the tax dues. If you made a payment you can click on record payment and you can say how you paid it, enter the reference number, and apply tax adjustment if you have any here. Tax adjustments can also be done here. So based on if you have made any tax adjustments while tax payments, you can add them here. Transaction locking is freezing the previous transaction. Imagine if you want to freeze last month's transaction, which means the transaction created before 1st of July. You can select the date here and enter the reason and save it. So moving forward, your transactions Zoho Books will not allow you to adjust the transactions before 1st of July. So now, okay, since I've created the organization right now, I can click here. So now the transactions are locked. Now let's head to the banking section where you can add different banks and configure them. You can click on add bank or credit card. You can type in your bank name Okay, we are integrated with 5,000 banks across the world. So you can click here and you can enter the credentials and save them. Moving forward, all your bank feeds will be fetched in, and you can view that in the uncategorized transaction. I'll show you in my other organization. So when I go to banking section, I can find the list of transactions, list of banks which I've connected with. This green color feed icon shows that the bank feeds are active, which means Zoho Books is actively fetching my transactions. Uh, Transactions in the sense your deposits and withdrawal information. So that'll be posted under uncategorized transaction section. So it'll tell you this is the amount, the deposits and withdrawal. And Zoho Books will pretty much show you possible matching transaction based on the date and the customer and the exact amount. You can select them to match them together, or you can also categorize them manually based on your requirement. You can choose the category here and you can save them. You can also add new transaction, money in and money out transactions based on your requirement. And you can update credentials, refresh feeds, or import statement or reconciliation can be done using this option. Click reconcile account and enter the closing balance here and start reconciliation. All you have to do is check and uncheck the box for the list of transactions you have. So you can also add new transaction as per your requirement, and click on reconcile to reconcile them. So this is how you can reconcile transactions and connect with your bank and manage your bank feeds. Let me talk about timesheets here. So you can create a new project and manage different tasks under a project. So I'm going to say I can choose the customer here and the billing method. We have 4 different billing methods: fixed cost for project, based on project hours, based on task hours, based on staff hours. You can choose them. And since I've selected based on task hours, I have rate per hour here. And I can select project hours and I can enter the rate per hour here, staff hours, rate per hour here. You can add different users, add as many tasks as you want, and save it. So now I have a project and I have a quick snapshot. I can find timesheets, expenses related to it, invoices related to it, comments related to it them here under these tabs, and I can view other details here. You can click on log time to manually log time, or using the smartphone application, your employees can log time directly. You can choose the task name, enter the time spent, check the box if it is billable, enter the notes, and choose the user, and simply save it to record time. I'm gonna say 10 hours and save it. Now there are 10 unbilled hours. I can click on new transaction and create a new invoice directly, or create an expense which is incurred for this project, or create a return invoice based on a requirement. So now I have an invoice ready and I can click here to send it across to my client. So this is how easy it is to track time and bill your customers based on your requirement. Under all timesheet section, you will find the list of timesheets. You can also have a calendar view. And if you are a person where you work across the week and log in the weekend, this weekly log time comes in handy. You can choose the project, task, enter the number of hours spent on each and every day, and simply hit save, and you can create an invoice based on your requirement. So with this, I pretty much covered all the basic functionalities and features of Zoho Books. I'll speak about the client portal feature. So now let me first send the client portal invitation to this contact. So I'm going to check the box and hit save. Okay, so first you have to verify your email address, since this is a new new organization. So once you create a new organization, you have to verify your email address. So since I have not done that, I got this response. So I have to click on this confirmation email. So my email is confirmed. Now when I refresh the page, I will not find that email to be verified icon anymore. So here you could see I can configure emails. Now I can go back and I'm gonna go to contact section, and I'm gonna click on more to configure email. I'm gonna hit save and send. Now I've sent the client portal invitation to my client. Here I can click on this re-invite to client portal button to re-invite them. So I'm going to my Gmail account. So here I have the client portal invitation. I can accept invitation, and this is the client portal. Username and password can be entered. So I can type in a password. So I'm gonna say I can update it. Now I'll be redirected to my client portal, and here you could see all the basic information about my invoices, outstanding invoices, available credits, my information here. And estimate section will tell you the list of estimates which you have. You can click here to accept them. You can click on them to view them. You can also comment on them. This is fine, awesome estimate. And you can add a comment, and this comment can be viewed in the Zoho Books section. So I'll just also show you how to use the search icon. I'm going to say estimates search. So I have my estimate here, and here on the top here you could see your client's comment. You can also comment directly and display them in the client portal, add a comment, and your client can view that in the client portal directly. So here you could see the comment made by you. So likewise, your customers can view on the invoices, and he can also view the list of payments he made, and he can download the PDF. Again, for the invoices, you can download, you can pay, you can forward, or you can print it. Here the estimate can be accepted, as you know, accepted. And here you could see on the beginning I've shown you there is a return invoice which I've created, and I've automatically a return invoice will also be created in Zoho Books. So I'll go to the return invoices. Here you could see a new return invoice which is automatically created for the 10% of the amount. I can record a payment here, or your customers can also view them here and record a payment under this invoices section. Here you could see there's a return invoice, and your customers can click pay now and proceed. Since I've selected PayPal, and they can enter the credentials and they can make a payment. So this is how simple and efficient the client portal works. And in here they can generate a customer statement by themselves, and they can download or they can print. They can log out or change password, and on the home they can pretty much alter their account information. So this is how elegant and simple Zoho Books and how the client portal feature in Zoho Books works. So I pretty much covered all the basics, features, and functionality of Zoho Books and the integration and the other possibilities across. So let's have a quick recap. We have seen that Zoho Books is a double entry accounting system, and we have seen how easy it is to create an invoice or an estimate or expense or a bill, return invoices, and how to record mileage expenses, how to create recurring activities, how to connect with your bank and reconcile transactions, how to connect with online payment gateways to receive payments online, a powerful client portal feature which will help you to track, which will help your clients to view all the invoices and estimates which you send to them, and the 1099 integrations, iOS, Android applications, and how to invite accountants and so on. So you have various variant pricing of Zoho Books. So you can click to upgrade your Zoho Books account. You can click on this gear icon and click on subscription, and you'll be redirected to the payments page. So here we have different plans of Zoho Books which you can choose from. Basic, you can choose between monthly and yearly, and you can click upgrade to upgrade them. So this is how simple to upgrade your account. So you can get in touch with us through facebook.com/Zoho, or you can also tweet at simply at Zoho, Or if you have any questions, send it across to support@zohobooks.com and we'll be more than glad to help you. And thank you so much for your patience and time across the webinar session. And if you have any questions, please do post them in the chat box and I'll be more than glad to help you on those questions right now.